the study. Today we're going to have an afternoon tea according to the stories of Brian Jacques and his Redwall series. So I've brought some cute little apples. Just perfect size for the little creatures of Redwall. And a little bowl of nuts that I've picked up in the woods. Leave this there. If you're not familiar with Redwall, Brian Jacques' first book, it's about an abbey in Mossflower Woods run by woodland creatures. They're a very peaceful, studious bunch. And they support the countryside around them with feasts and a library and of course lots of stories and songs. But there's always some danger afoot, mysteries to solve, battles to be fought, adventures to be gone. The first book, Redwall, tells about the little mouse Matthias. He'd grown up in Redwall as a Dibbun, the little creatures they take care of. And there's always a very kind-hearted, even-tempered abbot, and creatures such as the hares of the Long Patrol, the badgers of Salamandastron, the sea otters, and of course the abbey's founder, Martin the Warrior. I've got here a poster of some characters from the Redwall books. But first I thought I'd show you this book because it's one of my favorite. It's called Racketty Tam. It's about a squirrel who fights with a squirrel claymore against Gulo the Savage. And there we can see Gulo's ship. Oops, I've spilled the nuts. There's a good map, look at that, of Redwall's world. But not all of it, because the creatures go on great adventures and discover all kinds of things. There's Redwall Abbey, Salamandastron, the Great Mountain, Gulo's shipwreck, Asker's boat. So these are characters in this particular book. There's a river here, a waterfall, a fallen willow, walking stone buried here. There's Gulo's ship. And all of the interesting things that happen. There are all kinds of accents as well. And here's a story in form of a poem or a song. The books are full of them. A gallant young warrior lay weary on a battlefield far from his home. He tried to sit up and sound cheery, and these were the words he did moan. Oh, walla walla wimbo, bing bang bimbo, woolya 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 woo. What I wouldn't give for a pens full of me grandma's hard baked stew. And are nearly upon me. I'm eating a raw onion pie. I'll remember me auntie quite fondly, but it's so jolly hard not to cry. Oh, walla walla wimbo, bing bang bimbo, woolya ya. I've finished me scoff, so I'll be off. I'll be home by tea time, ma. Tea time sounds very nice, but before we make our tea, let's have a look at some of the creatures in Redwall. So this is a map with a little book, or a poster with a book, a little booklet with a quiz, and it talks about Redwall's friends, badgers, hares. Badgers have always felt the call of the fortress of Salamanderstron, fulfilling a destiny which is carved on its stones. As rulers of the fortress, they are great warriors of immense strength, within whose souls dark and light battle for supremacy. The curse of the badger warrior is the fabled blood wrath, which is able to make a badger utterly disregard his own life in an attempt to destroy his enemy. That almost sounds like a badger. Hugely loyal, the rulers of Salamanderstron frequently come to the aid of the Redwallers. The wisdom inherent in badgers stands the females in good stead for their traditional role as guardian mothers of Redwall Abbey. They usually take care of all the Dibbuns, the little ones in the dormitory at the Abbey. Hares. Whether actors, travelers, or members of the Long Patrol, the hares of Redwall are unforgettable characters, with their elaborate formality of speech and dress, their singing, constant chatter, and huge appetites. They are a much-loved part of Redwall lore. Hares are jolly and kind, but feared by their enemies. Hedgehogs are for the most part sensible and kind beasts. At Redwall they are usually the cellar keepers and proud of their fine concoctions, as well as the cellar hogs. There is also the young hedgehog maid Tansy, whose wisdom and judgment ensure that she becomes the first hedgehog to be made abbess of Redwall. Here we have the moles. Homely and sensible moles have played an important role at Redwall ever since the Abbey was first designed. It was moles who first dug the Abbey foundations, at which point the tradition of calling the chief Redwall Mole Vormole began. The technical know-how of the moles and their ability to tunnel have come to the aid of Redwallers on many occasions. Moles are renowned for their logic and mole sense. It was moles who dug the tunnels and flooded Cotier, moles who solved the mechanism leading to Martin's tomb, moles who dug the underground tunnels which foiled General Ironbeak, and moles who worked out a way to move the Abbey's foundation stone. Moles are renowned for their logic and mole sense, but detest water and heights. They love good food, with their all-time favorite being deeper than ever turnip and tater beetroot pie. They are also fond of singing in their unique style, with a paw over one ear, although their companions do not always appreciate it. Otters are boisterous, brave, and really passionate about one thing: hot root soup. Although they do not otters are skilled warriors fighting with sling and stones, javelin or bow and arrow, and they're able to vanish into the water at a moment's notice. They are also excellent crafts beasts, making furniture, such as a desk for Abbess Germain. Although often seen as reckless, otters are hugely valiant creatures, many of them giving their lives in the name of freedom. Then there are the shrews, very funny creatures in Redwall. Although their argumentative natures can sometimes give the impression of chaotic discord, the Gosim, guerrilla union of shrews in Mossflower, live by a strict code of rules and laws. The title of the Gosim leader, Logalog, is passed down through the generations and derives from the call for the fairy shrew to take other creatures across the river. Given their tendency to all speak at once, shrew law dictates that only the individual holding the black stone may speak at one time. The Gosim are fierce warriors fighting with their short rapiers and traveling the waterways in log boats. They are passionate about fighting for freedom and rarely take prisoners. Shrews are excellent cooks, particularly partial to a bit of meadow cream, and produce such specialities as shrew beer. Squirrels. The squirrels have always had an important role to play in Redwall history. From Rangivar, Foeseeker's great support of Luke in his battle against Vilu Daskar, they have fought bravely for Redwall and all that it stands for. Beyond Redwall, too, squirrels of great bravery have been associated with the Abbey. The great Rusanodri helps Tamo to join the long patrol. She also saves the life of the young Rusano the Wise. And of course this was written before Racketty Tam, so he would be mentioned here too. Squirrels played an important part in building of the Abbey. With their legendary climbing skills, they were the ideal creatures to put up the scaffolding during its construction. They are skilled and brave fighters who make full use of their detailed knowledge of the treetops for the purpose of attack or surveillance. Now here's a creature that you wouldn't expect would be a friend to all of these small little things. Birds, particularly owls. There have been a few owls that have helped out the Redwallers. Redwall has a great number of loyal feathered friends who are often crucial to the success of a Redwall mission and are ready to lend a wing. Of special significance to the Abbey is Warbeak, the Sparrow Queen, who helps Matthias to look for the sword of Martin the Warrior. She and Martin become great friends, and she risks her life to help the young mouse. Warbeak comes to the aid of the Redwallers, and again when she offers to seek out the traveling Matthias and deliver his vital map. And then we have a Redwall quiz. Here are some of the villainous vermin, the villains and the foe, the enemies of Redwall and the freedom of all woodland creatures. Mokken, the marl fox. Emperor Ublas. Damug Warfang, and Slagar the Cruel. These are a few of these villains. Here's some more. There's one great villain in in each book. Let's go through them. Seem to be going from back to front, but that's because I want to do the heroes last. They're the most important. Badrang the Tyrant appears in Martin the Warrior. The battle-hardened stoat Badrang the Tyrant is vicious and ruthless, letting nothing get in the way of his ambition to become lord of all the eastern coast. He presides over the fortress Marshank in a reign of terror, but his false power, created by bullying and torture, utterly deserts him when he comes face to face with young Martin the Warrior in the final battle. So if you think stories about little forest creatures in woodland areas in an abbey are tame and saccharine-loaded, you would be wrong reading Brian Jacques, because there's plenty of action, plenty of heartbreak as well, and it's it can get violent at times. There's lots of battles, but there's also lots of friendship, loyalty, and of course love. Sarmina the Wildcat appears in Mossflower, the headstrong daughter of Lord Vedraga Green Eyes. But she shows little regard for family ties when she plots to have her father killed and then frames her brother for the crime. Vilu Daskar appears in The Legend of Luke, the pirate stoat Vilu Daskar, captain of the Gorleech, plunders and kills without conscience. With slaves forced to row his ship, Daskar roams the high seas in search of treasure, casually disposing of those who get in his way. Swart Sixclaw appears in The Outcast of Redwall, an evil ferret with a six-clawed paw. Swart Sixclaw takes great pleasure in causing torment and pain. When Sunflash, the young badger whom he has taken prisoner, permanently damages this trademark claw during his escape, Sixclaw vows to hunt him down and kill him slowly. This he attempts to do, leaving a trail of poison and death behind him. But when he reaches the mountain fortress of Salamandastron, Sixclaw proves that he is ultimately no match for Sunflash. A few more villains. Gabul the Wild, who appears in Mariel of Redwall. He's a sea rat with a very large cutlass. Urgan Nagru in The Bellmaker. He commands a horde of savage grey rats. Veraga the Assassin appears in Salamandastron, the name of the book. Salamandastron, an evil and pitiless weasel, and an assassin. And Clooney the Scourge, who appears in Redwall. He's an evil rat, and he tries to take over Redwall because he likes it as a place to live for him and his minions. Let's look at Redwall's heroes. The brave and loyal creatures who fight so that others might live in peace and harmony in the woodlands and all around the world of Redwall. Martin's father. Martin is the embodiment of Redwall's spirit. Throughout his lifetime he fights for good against evil. Even after his death, he remains with the creatures of the Abbey in their dreams, guarding the present and looking out for the future. And then we have Luke the warrior, who appears in the Legend of Luke. Martin's warrior father. There he is. Then we have Sunflash, the badger. Sunflash the mace. Mariel of Redwall. She's the bellmaker's daughter. Fiercely independent young mousemaid Mariel is a survivor and a warrior. Joseph the bellmaker. Visited in a dream by Martin the warrior, he's instructed to journey southward where Mariel and Dandin need his help. Earthstripe the strong, very famous warrior badger, appeared in Salamander's Drawn. And of course, Matthias, the hero of the very first book called Redwall that we saw earlier. Matimeo, Matthias' son. Grath Longfletch, who appears in the Pearls of Lutra, when her entire family is slain by the troops of Emperor Ublas for the sake of 6 pearls. Grath vows vengeance on the Pine Marten and will not rest until she has it. With the help of the Redwallers, whose abbot has been taken hostage by Ublas, Grath is able to achieve her goal. She eventually finds happiness with Inbar Trueflight and returns with him to live at Holt Rudderwake. Tammo, who appears in the Long Patrol. Tammo is desperate to join the famous Long Patrol like his parents before him, but his father claims he is too young and undisciplined. And eventually, of course, he becomes captain. Danor Raiguba appears in Marfox. Dan is a young squirrel, put under constant pressure by his father to live up to the honor of his family name. But when Marlfox breaks into Redwall and steals the famed tapestry during Dan's watch, he gets labeled a coward. But eventually he fulfills his promise and is made champion of Redwall. Let's have a look at the poster. It's going to be very big, so I'm going to move the nuts. The acorns have lost their hats. So we'll have to look at it a bit at a time. But there's some very nice drawings of the creatures of Redwall. Clooney the Scourge, Badrang the Tyrant, Damog Warfang. I'm sure you recognize these from what we've just looked at. And in the center, Martin the Warrior, with his armor, and Matthias, Luke, Sunflash, Matimeo, Grath Longfletch, and our squirrel Dan, Earthstripe and Tammo and Mariel, and Joseph the Bellmaker. And here are some more villains. Slagar the Cruel, some afternoon tea with our Redwall Cookbook. This is a fun little book that goes by the seasons. There's spring. Pour spring vegetable soup. There's the Abbey cellars there in the kitchen. There's a hair of the long patrol, gourmet garrison grilled leeks. Stuffed springtide mushrooms. And there is an otter keeping the Dibbuns away from the kitchens. The Redwallers' Dibbuns love to have strawberry cordial. There's some more Dibbuns. They like to sit in the kitchens because that's where all the food is. And this looks like Matthias there with Martin's sword. And the mice in the kitchen. Hot mint tea. The cook. And the rabbit in the long patrol. And summer. I think we'll do summer since summer is almost upon us. Here you can see the Abbey pond and the boathouse there. And there's a hair of the long patrol and some flowers. And a bee. And some mice enjoying the shade of the willow tree. And here we have one of Brian Jacques' poems. Rise, O lark, soar up on high, sing your praises to the sky. Come, you little humble bee, kiss each blushing rose for me. Fruits upon the orchard bough, ripe and sweet for summer now. Summer steals in through my dreams, voyaging through dawning, like a leaf down shaded streams to the golden-clad morning. Hearken to each wondrous day where the sun is king, keeping warm dark night at bay, late into soft evening. Yonder come the hazy days, basking in the warm sun rays. Gently down the path 'twill soon shimmer in the distant noon. All the earth, and we as well, are under summer's magic spell. There we have the orchard and the creatures having the afternoon tea in the orchard. What shall we make? We'll invite all of the woodland creatures. Cherry crisp, jolly raspberry jelly rock cakes. I think definitely afternoon tea scones with strawberry jam and cream. And squirrel mums, blackberry and apple cake. That sounds perfect. Let's have tea. So the first thing for our Redwall tea is, of course, Dibbuns' favorite strawberry fizz. Besides Mr. Dog's claws on the floor, you can hear the fizz. Sorry about the claws. So that's the fizz. So what I put are some strawberry bits, and I've made some strawberry cordial. And you can see the bits of strawberry floating in there. So that's our yummy strawberry fizz. Put that just there so you can just see. So you can just see the strawberries. Now, so I've used the Redwall recipe and made nice little creature-sized or badger-sized scones. So we're going to use some strawberry jam. And, of course, some special Cornish clotted cream. Now, if you can see this special clotted cream, it takes at least 24 hours to make, and it's got a nice crust on top, and it's from Cornwall. I love Cornwall, it's one of my favorite surfing spots. So there's a crust that forms on the cream as you make it. Also for tea we have, which you might not be able to see, let's say, a few fresh blackberries. And I've made Squirrel Mum's apple blackberry cake. So that's why I don't do cooking videos. But it's delicious. So we're taking the lid off our strawberry jam. Let's put some cream. See that? So yummy. Onto a scone. Now there's a huge debate about whether to put the cream on the scone first or the jam. To be honest, and in all propriety, the consensus is it really doesn't matter. It's up to your personal preference. I like to add the cream first because I love the cream, because it's so sweet and delicious. And then I'll just top with a little bit of jam. But people who like more jam might want to put the jam first. So there is our delicious Redwall strawberry and cream scone. We've got some little apples and blackberries. Don't forget our strawberry cordial, a favorite of the Dibbuns. Now let's cut our cake. You can hear Mr. Dog. He can't stay away when I make food videos. Alright. Crumbly. It's our apple and blackberry yummy cake. And I've put little sugar on top of it. That will be nice and gluggy for afternoon tea. So do enjoy your afternoon tea wherever you are. And I hope you've enjoyed coming to Redwall with me in the study. Another little adventurous journey. you are, whenever you are. Be good to yourself, be kind to others, and to the animals.